Hi, everybody. So today we're going to talk about judgment. There's so many different levels in the topic of judgment, from it's terrible and you shouldn't judge to that's part of how the brain functions and is necessary to survive. Most of us agree it's not beneficial, psychologically ineffective, but we do it anyway. So first we're going to go all the way out and then come back down. Where judgment's coming from is it's the part of you that thinks itself separate from others. And at the highest level, judgment's absurd because there's nobody to judge. There's just one universal consciousness expressing itself through a myriad of different entities, most of which think they're separate, but behind it, there's just the source. So really, there's nobody to judge other than yourself. This is what holy men have been saying for years. The poet Omar Khayyam, who never called the one two. Jesus, who said, I and the Father, or the Source, are one. Hafiz, the Sufi mystic, who said, only the God who laughs at the word two can make you know of love. Neem Karoli Baba, the Indian saint, who always said, Subek, Subek, which means it's all one. There's a great book called Biocentrism by Dr. Robert Lanza, where he uses quantum physics and scientific methodology to prove that the universe is all one consciousness, and he's a very highly esteemed doctor. So at that level of oneness, judgment is preposterous because there's no one to judge, because it's all relative and it's all happening within the play of form. And once you see it like that, you can't unsee it. No matter how many times you get caught back in anger and judgment of others or yourself, you eventually step back and remember that they're an aspect of you. You get back into that space of love. Hafiz said one day all of your sorrow will admit it was just a lie. Now, it also becomes harder to judge people when you see that nobody is there to be judged. So thoughts, no actions, and even their personality is not who they really are. So there's an individual soul or awareness that's behind that entity who very well might think it's all of those things. It might think it's its thoughts and its actions and its personalities if it's caught in that. But it isn't. They're just happening through nature. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says that all action takes place by the interweaving of the forces of nature, but man in his selfish delusion thinks himself the actor. So there's not even people doing things. It's just a phenomenon of nature, like a bird chirping or an ant making a hill or one animal eating another. It's all just karmic tendencies working themselves out. It's just energy dancing around. And it just is what it is. There's no right or wrong about it. It's just our problem is that we're so attached to our separateness that we take everything so personally. We take our own life melodrama so personally, much more personally than you take somebody you don't know. It's like the Buddha had an analogy. He's like, you cry when your family member suffers and dies, but you don't cry every time you hear somebody from another village suffers and dies. Same thing with us. Like, I cry if somebody I know gets killed, but I don't cry on the news when I hear somebody downtown in the city gets killed, because I'm more attached to someone that's closer to my life than somebody I don't know. But that's all attachment. So there's no right or wrong about it, the judgment. There's no reason to judge others because there's no right or wrong about it. It wasn't done to this one or that one. That level, when we're talking about it here, that's behind karma. So karma is where it's all interrelated and we're still talking as separate entities. But beyond karma, it's all just patterns of energy. So the act you're performing or the thought you're having, it comes out of and returns into nothingness. I mean, the brain processes like 400 billion units of information per second, and only about 2,000 of those come into your awareness. But there's still all that information that you're taking in through your senses all the time. So everything your mind is this second contains the impressions of basically everything you ever did. And we're not even talking about past lifetimes, but just in this lifetime, it contains the impressions of everything you ever did, heard, and said, everywhere you ever went, every circumstance you ever found yourself in. If you had a supercomputer that could put all that data together, it could tell from an outside source, it could tell you what you were going to think or do next. So the person you're judging is just a soul like you who to do their karma took this certain incarnation where these experiences were going to happen. Now, it doesn't mean that as they awaken, things don't change. But you don't blame a sunflower for being different from a rose, or a tree for being big or small or twisted, or a cat from being black or spotted. You can see that some things get more light than others. Some got more water, some got too much water, some might have been damaged by poison, whatever it is, environmental factors. You don't expect them to be other than what they are. But when it comes to people, you judge them this way and that for not living up to your ideas or expectations of what they should be, or how it all should be. So you think some are good and some are scoundrels, but there's no right and wrong. Things just are what they are. Some people are more unpleasant than others, but that's okay. It's just God manifesting in that form, because there has to be a variety, or what would we be? And everyone's at a different part of the journey. Everyone's expressing themselves in these different ways. Some are really caught in illusion, some aren't as caught. So the point of this is, you don't have free will in the common way that most people think of it. I mean, if you could stand outside of time, you could see past, present, and future together. When things coincide in your life and people say, I just had a feeling to go there and I ended up saving that guy's life, or I just happened to go into a new coffee shop and meet my wife. They thought they chose that, but you thinking that you're choosing is also a part of the illusion, like me thinking that I'm choosing to do this. Now, this doesn't abdicate your responsibility. You think you have a choice, so make one. And on another level, you ultimately choose to be where you're at, but it's all just part of a giant happening and unfolding process. Like some people say, God's gift to us is free will, but there is no us apart from that source energy, so there is no us to receive it. That's why in Buddhism and Hinduism it's said that there's no doer. That one who thinks himself to be the doer, so one that's clinging to his individual separateness, is caught on the wheel of birth and death, one that thinks he is the doer. Because there's really no doer other than the source energy which does everything. This is why Hafiz says free will is a good consolation for those who are infirm. Or speaking of God, St. Thomas Aquinas said, how could he not forgive then what never really happened and or what he caused? So the point here is just to be careful, because we don't choose in the way that we think we do. It is the lightest way I can put it. So God is an unfolding process in all beings, and those that are less awakened, that believe in the separateness between themselves and others, are more easily able to commit divisive acts, or those which perpetuate suffering, because they think it's you against them. So it's easier, if I think I'm separate from you, it's easier for me to hurt you, That's why I don't hurt my family, because I don't think I'm as separate from them as I think I'm separate from the guy down the street. So I'd rather hurt him than hurt my family. But either way, I'm still invested in the separateness, which perpetuates suffering and the illusion. Now, there is change, like things change, but we don't control the change. It just unfolds. Like if you're listening to this and it helps you, do you think that it's just by chance that you came across it? So now also we can remember that everything happens for a reason, and it's easier to see when looking back that what you may have judged before was indeed perfect. St. Francis said that surely everything God made must be perfect. And Rumi said, everything is rigged in your favor, so there's nothing to worry about. And he also said that if he had to pay homage to all that has helped him, it would be every thought, feeling, and experience that he ever had. Another way to look at it is to see that we're all working with our own karma, and we're all sick in some way, or whatever you want to call it. So you're just seeing other people's clinging and attachments and neurotic traits and what they're working with. It has nothing to do with you. But when you judge another, you're in essence simply saying, I'm better than them, and if I was them, I wouldn't be doing that. There's some character flaw in their being. But you are them, just in a different package. God is unity, and judgment always divides, so it always takes you away from oneness. There's a small book written by the third patriarch of Zen Buddhism, the first Zen writings that are known of, and it repeatedly stresses staying free of judgment and opinion in order to know oneness. Now, this doesn't mean that you can't tell the difference between things on a worldly level, but you don't hold that judging attachment in your mind. You don't label and discriminate with judging intent, because when you're judging, it's usually out of insecurity or fear, because judging the other ego makes your ego feel better about itself. In the book, in the third patriarch of Zen, it says to set up what you like against what you dislike is the disease of the mind. And it also says, the burdensome practice of judging brings annoyance and weariness. What benefit can be derived from attachment to distinctions and separations? This also means you can't judge others for being judgmental, because that also brings your energy down to a lower vibration. And maybe you can't feel those more subtle energies, so you keep on judging. But one day you will, and it'll become less comfortable, and that's when it naturally starts to fall away. And inevitably, for most of us, judgments will still happen in the mind from time to time. And when they do, you don't judge yourself for judging, and don't get angry at yourself, because that's just the same thing. You just watch it and say, hey, judgment, my old friend, and in a light kind of way, like, hey, judgment, my old friend, welcome back again. You don't get caught in it. So as you bring that spacious awareness to it and don't give it your attention, those specific thoughts will slowly start to drift. Like, I could argue politics or abortion or anything with you without judging you in my mind and heart. There's a difference. Don't forget about letting go of your self-judgment. That's the most important part to drop. So we're not just talking about judging others, but we do a lot of the judging on ourselves. So what anybody does isn't about you. They're just expressing their current state of being, and there's nothing they or you can really do about it. Things do change over time, but where they are at right now, that's their business, and that's what they're working with. Like, it doesn't mean if somebody doesn't ask you for advice, like, you could have a friend that is doing some bad behaviors, and you don't have to be judging them in your mind. If they ask you for advice, you could still say, yeah, that's probably hurting yourself. Like, maybe you shouldn't do that anymore, or whatever. Or maybe when you're ready to drop that, you'll find some peace and relief. That doesn't mean you're judging them. Having that awareness doesn't mean that it has to be judgment or condemnation involved. Like Jesus said, take the pole out of your eye, then you can see better to take the needle out of your friend's eye. Like, why are you trying to take that needle out of somebody else when you have these huge issues of your own? So it's tougher when you're caught in the game. When you think that's who you really are, it's tougher. It's tougher for those people than for the ones who know it's a game. Really, you want to have compassion for judging minds, because they're really shortchanging themselves. Paramahansa Hariyananda, the famous successor of Yogananda, the great Indian saint, said, to see many is your spiritual death, and to see one in all is realization. Before you guys log out of this video, check out my brothers and their friend Keith's political podcast channel. It's called The College Conservatives. It's very cool and informative channel, and regardless of your political leanings or beliefs, you could definitely get some stuff out of checking it out. I'm going to drop the link to the channel and to their latest video in the descriptions. Thanks.